In a world of change, one thing stays the same. Novac's base rates have remained unchanged for a decade, even as people use more electric devices than ever before. Novac continues to keep rates low and reliability high. Novac holds base rates down, even as other prices climb, because you have enough change in your life. Novac, keeping life bright.
The weather's getting warmer, and everybody wants to be outside, even your smart speaker. Crank up your favorite Odyssey stations on your Amazon Echo, Google Nest, or Apple HomePod at the pool or while you're grilling. Get your summer soundtrack from stations across the USA, from top 40 to rock, R&B to country. It's all here on Odyssey. Play your favorite station at your command, hands-free on your smart speaker. Your summer soundtrack is part of a universe of audio on Odyssey.
Now, Jax, I'm not rooting for anyone this postseason, but I'm rooting against teams this postseason. Are you rooting for anyone with the Heat out, or do you just watch because you love basketball? I'm rooting against teams.
I was rooting against Louis Oosthuizen yesterday for obvious reasons that should just come to you right now. I think Louis is a beautiful human being. I think that he will eventually win in the United States. For my purposes yesterday, I'm glad it wasn't yesterday. And I felt bad about it because as a golfer, I'm driving to go play golf. That's not our code. You're not supposed to do those types of things.
Is that right?
I say all that to say, it's in many ways, unless you're playing match play or Ryder Cup or Walker Cup, you're playing the golf course. Everybody's trying to master the golf course, and you have differing results of that, although you are in a competitive tournament in which there may be some head-to-head stuff going on. And that's what was really cool about the U.S. Open yesterday, is that you got a number that's on the board. That dude's in the clubhouse. You have every opportunity to go get it or at least create a playoff, and sometimes the enormity of that gets to us. Now, let's transfer that to the question you actually asked me. No, once the Heat are out, I fully unplug from a rooting interest standpoint and just revel in the fact that we had back-to-back nights of Game 7s. There was something about the Suns win yesterday I enjoyed. I just enjoy the entire story. What a Father's Day for Miami's own James Jones, right?
Yeah.
It's Father's Day. He's executive of the year. His team's up 1-0 with his leading man still in the health and safety protocol. I had to text JJ. I usually leave him alone until the off season, and I had to text him yesterday and just let him know how happy I am for him. Because that was a tough job for a lot of people, Zaz. Remember? I mean, Steve Kerr had that job, right?
Yep.
And
it's not just the team that hasn't made the playoffs in a decade. It's that, you don't know if you trust the owner or not,
Well, that was the thing he had to learn, just like Cuban had to learn. These billionaires come in. They're so super successful. They love their teams. They probably love the sport. And so they want their fingers in the dirt. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't. And so, Mr. Soler had to learn that too. And
I feel
like he has.
Mm-hmm.
Feels like he has.
I feel great for JJ. Like, I was watching yesterday, my wife and I, we saw him get the award. My wife said the same thing to me. She's like, hey, you got to send him a message. Like they showed him in the suite at this point. He's actually holding his phone. He's sending some. So you should send him a message. He'll see it right now. Look. Yeah, look, he's holding his phone. He'll see your message, And I said, no, I messaged him a couple weeks ago when the Suns beat the Lakers. I sent him a message a couple weeks ago. Congratulations. I got to leave this guy alone, Like, I felt great for him because that was not an easy job. You had a lot of people like, oh, he's just a puppet. It's a guy who's never been the full-time, because he was the interim GM. It's a guy who's never been a full-time GM, not a ton of experience. He doesn't really have any power, Well, hey, look at it. Executive of the year, he's pulled all the right strings. He's done a terrific job. I felt really good for JJ. Jax, I was saying at the start of the show here how rare it is. You win a Game 7 on the road. We saw two of those over the weekend. The Miami Heat,
Wow.
now they haven't played a ton. They've only played 2 Game 7s on the road in their franchise history. They lost them both. But the point is, the Heat have never won a Game 7 on the road, and we saw 2 road teams win Game 7 over the weekend.
Listen, this whole season has been irregular, so why not, right? Hell, you had that one series with Dallas and Los Angeles that the home team couldn't win until the end, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It just, I'm not going to chalk anything up to anything other than the fact that there's a job to do, and both those games, it took pretty much the entire 48 to get it done, and that's what you want in those games. Who the hell's signing up for a Game 7 blowout? I mean, the winner wants it, but when you think about all those folks outside Fiserv on Saturday night, right? Mm-hmm. And then the get down for the chicken wings in Atlanta, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I mean that in the Lou Williams way in Atlanta. After that win, that's why this is all so fun. It's why we get so nuts. It's why we act like fools on Twitter and buy all the gear, because these moments, man, they grab you and you'll talk about them for decades. And so I'm happy for those two towns to be able to do that.
Last year the Heat as a number 5 got to the finals. That's very rare. This year the Hawks are a number 5. Hell, the Bucks are a number 3. It's 3 versus 5 in the conference finals. Do you think are we trending in a place where the NBA you think is going to start having a bit more parity?
Again, I'm reserving all judgment because the last year and a half have been so insane, and I don't know what to make of anything. And so I'm willing to let it happen for another year or two to see if that's a real thing, because this has been the league of dominant greatness for so long. Yep. I'm not afraid of what I would call the NFL-ification of competition in the NBA. It's all good. Atlanta's a really big city, right? Mm-hmm. Milwaukee is close to a really big city. Both teams have global stars, not just stars, NBA stars, but stars that radiate around the world. And so it's really going to be fun. It's not what we would have necessarily signed up for the glitz and glamour of other stars in other cities, but man, these are the teams that won. Dig in. I'll tell you this. Mm-hmm. I have been so shifted with Trae Young in this space, and I think he's going to make this conference finals fun, intriguing. I'm not sure about the matchups. I haven't dug into it at all, but I really think, even on a night where he didn't have to be spectacular because other guys were, that he could have a historical run. I don't know if that means Atlanta's going to the finals. I just mean it's intriguing enough to get me to tune in every night.
Jax, too much criticism at Ben Simmons, or is it okay?
Yeah, it's on point. It's on point, Taz. You can't be an all-star starting point guard with his pedigree and anointment coming in and have a night like that. And I feel sorry for the kid, because what we saw in that fourth quarter was not a diminished skill set. That man still had double-digit rebounds and double-digit assists. He defends like a madman. His confidence offensively eroded in front of our eyes. And that's, I don't care if you like a team or a player or not, that's just sad to watch. Like that, this dude, admittedly, I heard it in your clips, and I'm glad you played it. Got some work to do. And we all have that in our respective crafts. But when we get, I don't know what the radio equivalent of that stat line is, man, but it ain't good, right? That's not your best show. And so you're going to go back and review some things and figure out, do I need to rock these teases a little better? Should we have a little more audio? Should I upgrade my guests? These are things that'll keep you up at night.
Yeah, and man. So if I had the radio equivalent, if I had that show that he had in the fourth quarter of the last 4 games, I'm probably not coming to work the next day.
You just need to clear your mind and then get to work, though. See, unlike you, he needs to get to work. I'm hoping he's in a gym right now. I'd be surprised if he remains a 76er. You heard that from Doc. Really, right? I mean, like, Doc didn't even really hold it back.
I was shocked. Like, I'm sitting there on the couch watching it. Oh, my eyes wide open, and then they go back to the studio guys, and Ernie just immediately is like, well, that's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, for anybody that missed it, just the idea that Doc is no longer sure that Ben Simmons is the starting point guard. And maybe, here's another thing, man. Maybe there's a transformation. Maybe he's really a point forward that just does other stuff, becomes a slasher. Or I don't know. Listen, it's got to be figured out. He has a wonderful specimen. He has clear skill set on both ends of the floor. This part of it is a really important part of the game, putting the ball in the basket. And I don't even feel right chuckling about it, but it's something that is probably going to require a change of scenery.
Jax, finally, I have not started yet. I'm going to at some point this week. Are you dialed in to the new Disney Plus Marvel series, Loki?
I love when you ask me questions you know the answers to.
Do we like it? This
might be the most important. Not only do I like it, I'm proclaiming it the most important Disney Plus series of Phase 4.
Wow!
Like what is coming in the multiverse of madness? Basically, Doctor Strange 2. What's coming in No Way Home for Spider-Man? What's coming down the pike for everything, probably Thor: Love and Thunder, all is radiating from this series more than it did from the other 2 that preceded it. It just keeps getting better and better, and I don't get it because sometimes you just trip up, right? Like we're just talking about Ben Simmons, right? You have a Ben Simmons presentation of anything you do at this magnitude of content as it pertains to this great, over a decade idea of telling these kind of connective linear stories through a series of movies and now television series. It's phenomenal, dude. It's just phenomenal.
Right, I got to get on that.
We're so blessed to live in an era. Get on it. We're blessed to live in this era where it's at our fingertips. We are funny. We straddle, some of the great inventions in time. I always marveled at my grandparents because, invention of the car, invention of the radio, invention of television, like all happened in their life, right?
Yeah.
And we're seeing this thing where we got these things in our hand that, really occupy us way too much, and these streaming platforms, just magically delicious.
I'm into it, man. I'm looking forward to it. That's a heavy recommendation. I like it. Jax, happy Father's Day again to you yesterday, and great job. Thanks for hanging out with us, pal.
Anytime, brother. You know how to get me.
All right.
The weather's getting warmer, and everybody wants to be outside, even your smart speaker. Crank up your favorite Odyssey stations on your Amazon Echo, Google Nest, or Apple HomePod at the pool or while you're grilling. Get your summer soundtrack from stations across the USA, from top 40 to rock, R&B to country. It's all here on Odyssey. Play your favorite station at your command, hands-free on your smart speaker. Your summer soundtrack is part of a universe of audio on Odyssey.